and our runner today is Becky Chan doing Spyro Year of the Dragon any percent. So I've personally never seen a Spyro run. So what can we expect from this run today, Becky?
Lots of glitches and exploits. It's gonna be an entertaining run, definitely. Even
I'm
if you
excited.
haven't seen any of the runs.
Yeah, Spyro is definitely one of those games that I should probably play at some point in my life. Um, it's up there in my games to play for sure.
Play the original, not the remake. Or play both.
Yes, definitely want to play both, that's for sure. Looks like the chat's saying a lot of hellos. We're just fixing the audio right now, guys, so just hold on tight. There's a lot of good lucks in the chat for you, Becky. Lots of excited people for Spyro. This is not SGDQ. No, SGDQ actually starts in the end of June. And just a reminder that registration deadline for SGDQ is May 27th, and also refund deadline is May 27th for SGDQ. This is the OG, correct?
Correct. I'm not sure if you can already see the game, but this should give you an idea of that this is the original version and not the remake.
Yeah. They're working on yeah. So, donate or use bits. I don't believe there's any incentives for the hotfix, but you can always donate to support hotfixes and to continue having them in the future. All right, so it looks like we'll be getting started here.
All right, I think we can go. Do you see what I see? Like the menu?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just gonna press new game and then you can start the timer. Right. So, 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So this is Spyro Year of the Dragon, Spyro 3. I'm going to run any percent, which means I'm going to complete the game as quickly as possible. I have to manage through a bit of the cutscenes before we can start. All right. If you play this game, you have to collect 100 eggs to get access. Thankfully, in any percent, we don't need 100. So I can spoil that for you. I have 19 eggs because we get 1 egg per level and 1 from each of the bosses. So it's 15 from the levels, 3 bosses, and 1 extra egg. Special. And yeah, so we have to each of the levels quickly. And we bring one of the inhabitants back every time. So they can actually help us to proceed to the next homeworld. So in the first level, there was nothing really special. So the second level, Cloud Spiders, is the first one where we can actually see escape. Like a really big level escape. It's also not super hard. So I shouldn't have a problem getting it. And hopefully I didn't jinx it after I said it. So usually you have to go all the way around and have to pay money bags to use one of the tests. But thankfully the side areas are all very have very big loading zones. I could access behind the mountain just because the loading zone is so big, and then I could just exit out and end the level from there. So I skipped the whole thing and I'd only do a very small circle. Sorry.
Oh.
A lot of the
Never
yes.
I was gonna ask if out of bounds is used a lot in this category.
Yes.
Then.
Wow. Okay, that was not optimal. Do this again. This is the first really important trick. Not this, but what I just attempted to do before I went inbounds. You're not supposed to go this way through the cave. At the end of the cave, there's actually an egg, but we don't need it. We need the water here. So now I'm out of bounds, and I need this to access the next level, because you need 10 eggs to get to this level, but I don't have 10 eggs, obviously. But fortunately, all of the portal triggers, the level triggers, are stored underneath the portal. And when you have enough eggs, or paid money bags, then the trigger just gets moved up to where the portal is. But as long as I have not fulfilled the requirement, it's just stored underneath and it's active. So a lot of the levels I would just enter from underneath because the level is active there and I can enter. And this is the whole thing what makes any percent so cool. Because it's find out how to enter all of the levels. And thankfully we know how to.
Definitely like all the little characters that you interact with in this game.
Yeah, they're not super useful though. They're gonna help us to proceed to the next homeworld, but in general, they don't do much for us, except for giving eggs, which is good. So I'm gonna do that thing again. It's called whirlwind bypass because we're literally bypassing the whirlwind here, instead of going the other way around. You're not supposed to do that, but since we have this could be too low. Never mind. But since we have the super fly, we can do a little super fly jump at the end to get out of the cave. If someone of you is familiar with Spyro 2 OG, there's a glitch we call double jump glitch, and it works kind of like this. So you get a little bit more extra height with a certain when you press certain buttons at a certain time. It's super general, but you get what I mean. You get the extra height from the flame and the jump. Okay. And since all good things come in 3, I'm gonna do this one more time. For Morton Crater, we didn't need the swim, but for the next one is Sheila, and obviously I also have no gems, so I can't free her by paying money backs, but I don't have to. Not optimal. So just get the swim again, and then I can explain you why this whole thing works. Okay. You can kind of see where the portals are here, but sometimes the angle is a bit awkward and then you can't see everything. Okay, since Sheila has a very simple and straightforward level, it's 3 rooms, a bit RNG,
Thanks again, Spyro.
where the enemies are, but in the end you have to escort the goats home. So yeah, I can explain how the water works and why the swimming into portals is a thing. We call it swim in air because that's what we do. We swim in air. And it works because the water in Spyro is so strange. It's not a body of water, it's just a plane. And so there's a swim trigger and then the container that keeps you in this trigger. But when you go out of bounds, the container is gone, but the swim trigger is still active. And so you can just move around freely. And this is what helps us go into all of the levels and out of bounds. Also, yeah, for Sheila, you could see the little portal moustache. They're only in the first Homeworld, though. It's harder to see the level entries for the next Homeworlds. But most of the time, I just know where they are.
Listen carefully.
And this is already the first boss. It's Buzz. And I hope I don't mess this up.
When I heard the sorceress was
Buzz is a really easy boss, actually. He's programmed to not go over the edge, but you can keep him on the edge by being on the edge yourself. And then you can manipulate the camera by just turning it. And then you manipulate Buzz in the way he's off camera, so he can't attack you, because if he doesn't exist for the game, then he can't attack you. Okay. I had a marathon run a few weeks ago, and I died in this boss fight, so I'm glad I didn't repeat this here. The next bosses are unfortunately not that easy to manipulate.
Would you say Spyro 3 is your favorite out of the series?
Definitely yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't the first one I played. I played Spyro 2 first, then 3, and then 1. But yeah, Spyro 3 stuck with me for a very long time. This is another way to get swim in air. This was pretty quick. And as I said, the next portals, you can't see where the trigger is, but I know where it is. And so yeah, even if you know where to aim, then you just can get in.
Oh, people want to know, chat wants to know your opinions about the remastered versions of the game.
I like it. It's kind of awkward because the movement and is a bit different, and the camera is different, and Spyro 1 surprised me because it was fun. And I know a lot of people like Spyro 1 OG, but I'm not one of them. But the remake of Spyro 1 was really fun for me.
I've captured the
But yeah, you can't say this one's better than the other. Like in general,
Rhinox have
like remaster is better than OG. OG is always OG and OP.
I agree.
Also, yeah, we're playing Bird now, the second character. You can. Oops. Okay. It's another escort mission. You can make him a bit faster by driving. The problem is it locks your camera and makes movement a little bit more awkward. That was unfortunate. Thankfully, this is the level I told you. We have a second egg, and also I got the fairy, so I don't have to do all of this again. You only need to kill the last enemy here. Before my run, I was wondering what random thing would happen that usually doesn't happen, and dying in Bird was definitely one of these things, I guess.
mission accomplished.
We had someone else ask if the remastered versions have the same routing as the original.
No, they can't, because we can't use the glitches. The same glitches for OG and remake.
When you see a ladder, walk.
Okay. Focus for a second. Okay, perfect. So this is not my favorite entry because you can't see. You know, I know that the portal is directly stored under the ladder, but from out of bounds you can't really see it. And I have a very easy setup that allows me to see as much as possible, and it still is not my favorite entry. But it worked, thankfully. In general, the second Homeworld is not my favorite because a lot of things can go wrong. And I'm pretty sure things will go wrong. We have to do the same thing again, just in a different direction now. Because there's another level, and we are constantly under-egged. We were already under-egged in Sunrise, and we're even more under-egged in Midday now. Okay. Don't mind me just flying through the scenery and entering levels. So for this, hopefully I can show you the skip here. And then I can explain what's going on. Okay. Okay, so this, what you just saw, was a proxy. It's a squeeze proxy, and the easiest way to explain it is to say, we have an area with lots of pressure, and we try to lower the pressure, or the game tries to lower it. We squeeze Spyro into a space where he doesn't fit, and then he simply gets thrown out, launched in the air. The boulder proxy is not super difficult. It only saves 4 seconds because we can only skip one room, but it's still cool to show off. And it still saves time, so.
Lots of claps happened in the chat for that one there.
Hopefully, I can show you another proxy in this level. Otherwise, I have to do it casually. There are a lot of things you can do. Oh, that was not very good. I'm gonna give this a second chance, just because, why not? I'm still okay on lives, hopefully, so... No, okay. Yeah, it would have skipped to the end of the level. With a similar launch to what you just saw in the level before. Also, noise warning. I'm gonna... the statue you can see from the sorceress, it's going to explode, and it's ridiculously loud, so volume warning. We have no idea why it's unbalanced. We only know that it is unbalanced.
The world. Oops.
I have a question that's asking how you got into speedrunning.
It was in 2015, and a streamer I followed hosted the German restream of STDQ, and I clicked on the channel, I watched the restream, I watched STDQ, and then it dragged me into this. It was a really random thing, to be honest, but it was nice. Also, this level is my nemesis. A lot of things can go wrong. I mean, there's only one thing that can go wrong, and this is me missing this end of the level. You can see that it's really circular. We can skip to the end of the level. The problem is this jump is precise, and I'm not super consistent with it. But it saves a lot of time. That's close. I have one more try. Yeah. A game over here is fine, because I need lives for Evening Lake, the next Homeworld. Need a good hover? No, okay. Nobody likes ice levels. But yeah, you can make this jump. It's just a tough one. The devs thought we couldn't reach this. They made the levels circular, but the end of the level is always out of reach. Except that for most of the levels we found ways to still skip to them, to the ends. So yeah, now we unfortunately have to see the level, how it's done. Casually. And you can see how long it is, and how laggy it is as well. I don't even know exactly how much time the skip saves, because nobody would even attempt to not do it. Just because, I mean, look at this level, look how long it is. And then, yeah, why shouldn't you do the skip? This is the only thing that skips a bit, because the TNT breaks the ice wall, and I don't need the cannon for it. Okay.
Oh, by the way.
Also, a side note about me and this trick. Even in the marathon run I did a few weeks ago, I game overed here and had to do it casually. It didn't work as well there.
Let's head on over.
And this is the next boss. It's Spike. And Spike is a good example for a thing that it happens in Spyro 3 because we have something like adapted difficulty. And since we're doing any percent, and have only very few eggs and very few gems and life and whatever, we actually have easy mode Spike, and you can see it by at the fact that he only my bad. That he only takes 2 hits per phase, and we get fodder. In hard mode, he would have 3 hits per phase, and you wouldn't get any fodder. And he's more aggressive in general. So yeah, after Spike, I'm definitely in hard mode. But for now, it's easy, and it definitely makes the fight faster. Yeah, also when you die a few times, I think you die like 4 times or something, then you also get thrown into easy mode. And the game's like, okay, you need help here, I got you. And then it's easy mode. In the remake, there's only easy mode Spike.
Wow.
Okay. Another out of bounds entry. One of the difficult ones. Okay. So the difficult thing about this entry is that directly next to it is another portal, and it's a speedway portal, so it's completely useless for us. And you definitely don't want to go into the speedway portal. But you also can't see any of the portal triggers, so you have to know where to go. And this worked pretty well here, and I'm happy. Yeah, Bentley is the slowest character from the other characters that are not Spyro. Oops. He moves very slowly, he can't run. And it's another escort mission. We escort our little brother to the end of the level. And rescuing him from the seals. Also, you always get a snowball to throw, but you don't need it. As I take the extra life because I might need it. Okay, I have 5 now. I might not need it, but I hopefully will not need it. But we'll see. There's a thing coming up in a few levels that will cost me a life, at least. Excuse me? I think it was my fault. I was in his way. And I thought he just didn't move. Yeah, Bentley is very speedy.
Thanks, bro.
Next one is Frozen Altars, because the last ice level went so well for me. Frozen Altars is a really cool level because you get the ice breath instead of the fire breath to freeze enemies and even the NPCs, and then you can do funky stuff like this and just build bridges instead of using the laser that you're supposed to use to melt the ice wall. And in general, in Frozen Altars you can just do a lot of unintended platforming. Like all of this, what I'm doing here. You're supposed to go around the whole level. But we can just skip most of it. Because I see the question in chat, I'm playing on NTC 1.0 because it's the fastest version. You can play on any like any version. 1.1 is only a bit slower. PAL is a little bit more awkward, especially for any percent. Gets a little bit more difficult in the end. But in general, you can play on any version. So yeah, also yeah, sceneries, as you can see, are optional. And this was the easier entry. One point oh has one less cutscene less. It's the Spike is Born cutscene that simply doesn't exist in 1.0. And especially for Evening Lake, the boundaries are higher in the later version. You can still get out of bounds. It's just a tiny bit more difficult and you need a hover, so it's also a bit slower. But you can still do it.
Looks like you'll have to
I think these are the main reasons. It's definitely recommended to play on NTC though. There's not much I could do here. There's a proxy you could do in Fireworks on a Firefly. The problem is the Firefly is very small and its hitbox is very small and it doesn't save you time if you can't do it. Not even semi-consistently. Okay, so as I said, I need lives for Evening Lake, and this is mostly what for. This is another escort mission. We have to escort Ed. And the most important thing here is I'm not gonna leave the level by exiting out. I'm gonna leave the level by dying and exiting out. And I hope this will not take me too long. It's a frame perfect trick. And I can buffer if I don't mess it up. Green sparks is not optimal for me because it gives me less wiggle space. But we'll see. Okay, that was too late. I get a haptic feedback when I'm sparksless and hit the acid. That's not it. That was too late. That's the one. Okay, perfect. The most important thing is that now I'm in a mode we call zombie mode because it's a limbo state because of the desync from the game recognizing we're dead and leaving the level. And it simply bonds us in the state that we first enter, which is swim state. And it's like an instant swim in air. And now we can enter the next level. And the first thing I would do is I death abuse because I'm still in zombie mode now and I have to get rid of it. You can finish this level in zombie mode, and at the end of this level there's a cutscene that clears this mode for whatever reason. But in general, if you can't do that one proxy that brings you to the end of the level, you have to do some other things, and it involves using the power-up, and you can't use the power-up or the whirlwind at the end, and I need both. So I have to get rid of zombie first. Also, yes, as you can see, walls are optional. Optional, not optimal. Who needs walls? So yeah, we rescued the princess, I guess. And now, that was already the last normal level. Next one is a boss. And it's the most terrible boss because it's purely RNG. Bentley will help us here. And sometimes Bentley is nice. And then he gives us red rockets first. But he might not too. You can get green or... Wow, okay. It's the red one. You can get greens or reds. And the problem is, if you get a green rocket, it's only 1. And if you get a red rocket, it's 50. And they deal the same damage. So, obviously, you want red rockets. It's also RNG which attacks Gorge deals with. This is not optimal enemy RNG, but there's not much I can do. In worst case, he spawns Buzz. Because he can do that. Just because he can do that. He only takes 1 hit then, but it's still annoying. Okay. Okay. So the last thing we have to do now is make any percent basically. So as I said, we don't have 100 eggs. I have 19. And I'm not gonna do any of the levels here. You only have to enter Sorceress.
Spyro, I know you.
And it could be easy, but it's not. You have to do it by doing another crease proxy here. Need to set this up. Okay. The backup. It's not optimal. Could work. Okay. Okay. Perfect. So, if you're wondering how this worked, I told you at the second level that the side area portals are like the loading zones can bleed far into the scenery, and this is exactly what's happening here. So the sorceress is actually stored where she is stored, like the side area, but it bleeds into the mountain. And so if we can reach it with the salmon proxy, we can just enter the loading zone from there. There are people who like the sorceress fight, and there are people like me who don't. It's a long and annoying fight. There are patterns for where the vehicles drop and where she runs to, and even where Agent 9, who shoots the vehicles from the ceiling, or from the sky, even where he runs to. The problem is, I don't know any of these patterns. So I have to do this casually. There are only a few runners that know how to do this fight optimally. And they can do it fast. And then this fight is fast, but if you don't know the patterns or how to manipulate the sorceress, then there's not much you can do except for doing the fight casually. And also, if you're wondering if the music is correct, no, it's not. It is obviously not correct. It's the Homeworld music from Sunrise. And the correct music is actually in the game somewhere. It simply doesn't get played because the game was rushed and they didn't have time for testing. So, I mean, at least the fight has music. It's just not the correct one. Also, if you do this fight optimally, you can skip the last phase, like the UFO phase. You don't need a UFO. But if you do it the way I do, then you definitely get a UFO at some point. And you have infinite hits. If she doesn't throw you off, then you can do it. I need one more hit. It was unfortunate. Time's at the last hit. Time.
Nice.
Yeah. That's it. We saved the world. Spyro saved the world again. And yeah. Can you give me the time?
Yes, it was a 38:10. It looks like.
Okay. Okay, I'm fine with that.
Lots of GGs in the chat. And
Yeah,
if you guys
thank you.
did miss the run, everything will be on YouTube afterwards for you to watch.
Spyro, you've just defeated the sorceress, rescued the dragon eggs, and restored freedom to the lost dragon world.
Yeah, I don't thanks for watching.
Funny thing, Spyro.
I'm glad it went reasonably well. And thanks for doing this marathon. Thanks for the invitation.
I told you not to.
I didn't expect it. So yeah, thanks everyone. I appreciate it. Also, this is the last thing I can show you. We end here after the credits. It's the room behind where the sorceress is in the castle, and you can't get out. It's solid from the other side, so it's only sorceress or outside. You can only exit by using the credit codes again, like the cheat, and then you end up in the homeworld again. It's a fun thing to know. So yeah, thanks everyone.
All right, so up next, we will be having Nylum running Banjo-Kazooie 100%. We're just gonna take a quick pause break to switch over the screens and we'll be right back up.